stranger than fiction.
Hey everyone, and welcome back to What's Going On with AI. It's me again, Peter Dawell, and we're back with another deep dive into the crazy world of AI. And today we're going to be talking about something that I know everyone's really interested in, how AI can actually make you more efficient. You know, it's like having this super smart assistant who can just like handle all these like little annoying tasks, and you can just like focus on the stuff that really matters.
Right, exactly. I'm Nora Kane, and I'm excited to kind of like break down how this tech can actually make your life easier. Because let's be real, who couldn't use a little more time and like brain power in their day?
Yeah, totally. And we know that like you guys out there listening already have the AI basics down, so
Oh,
we're going to skip the intro course and just jump right into the good stuff. You ready to level up your AI game?
let's.
Okay, cool. So let's start with something called backpropagation. And before you like zone out thinking this is going to be some boring tech jargon, I promise it's way cooler than it sounds. We found this super interesting article about Jeffrey Hinton, who's like a total legend in the AI world. Back in the 80s, his work with backpropagation basically revolutionized the whole field.
Yeah, it's true. Backpropagation is like the engine behind deep learning. It's this algorithm that allows AI to actually learn from data, like similar to how our brains kind of make connections.
So it's not just about like dumping information into a computer, it's about teaching it to actually understand and use it.
Exactly. Like, think about training a dog, a new trick. You show them what to do, you reward them when they get it right, and they learn through like repetition. Backpropagation helps AI do the same thing, but on a massive scale with tons of data.
Okay, I'm starting to get it.
Hmm.
But the article also mentioned that even Hinton himself is now searching for alternatives to backpropagation. Why is that?
Well, it turns out that backpropagation can be a bit of an energy hog. It needs a ton of computing power, which can be like really expensive and not so great for the environment.
So like we need AI to be smart but also efficient.
Right. Exactly. And that's why researchers are working hard to find like better alternatives. Think about it. If we can make AI learn more efficiently, it opens up so many possibilities for solving complex problems without, using up all our resources.
That's where things get really interesting. The article mentions some companies like ScentML and Untether AI that are developing some pretty cool solutions.
Yeah, Sentinel is all about software. They're basically trying to streamline the whole backpropagation process, and they're claiming to be able to reduce the computing power needed by like 30 to 60%.
Wow, so they're basically finding shortcuts for the AI to learn without sacrificing its intelligence. That's amazing.
It is. And then you have untethered AI who are taking a completely different approach. They're building specialized chips that are designed to run AI algorithms way more efficiently than anything we have right now.
Okay, that's starting to sound like something straight out of a sci-fi movie. But let's bring it back down to earth for a second. What does all this mean for the average person? How will more efficient AI actually change our daily lives?
Well, just imagine a world where your phone can do like super complex things without the battery dying in 5 minutes. Or think about doctors being able to diagnose illnesses more accurately and quickly. Or even personalized education that adapts to each student's learning style.
Okay, now you're talking. That's the kind of AI future I can get behind.
Right. And that's just the tip of the iceberg. As AI gets more efficient, it becomes more affordable and accessible for everyone. It's like a game changer for like everyone.
So we've talked about backpropagation, the need for greater AI efficiency, and how these advancements could potentially like transform our world.
Hmm.
But there's another piece of this puzzle we need to talk about. The rise of large language models, or LLMs for short.
Yes, these are the brains behind those really smart chatbots and text generators that you see popping up everywhere these days.
Yeah, and Hinton seems to believe that these LLMs are way more than just fancy word generators. He thinks they're actually capable of some pretty complex reasoning.
He does, and he really pushes back against the idea that LLMs are just like, stitching together bits of text from the internet. He believes that they're building their own understanding of the world and using that to actually solve problems.
Right, and it gets even weirder. Hinton has this theory that when LLMs make mistakes or generate nonsensical stuff, it's actually a sign that they're learning to be more like humans. He calls these mistakes hallucinations.
It's a really interesting comparison, isn't it? He's basically saying that just like humans, LLMs sometimes confabulate, which means they like fill in gaps in their knowledge with guesses that might not always be accurate. Kind of like how we sometimes misremember things or like embellish stories to make them more interesting.
So you're saying AI is starting to develop its own imagination? That's pretty cool and a little bit creepy.
It's definitely something to think about. But here's the thing. As AI gets more sophisticated, it's not just about how much it can do. but also how it learns and how we can understand its decision-making process.
That makes sense. If AI is going to be making decisions that affect our lives, we need to be able to trust its logic.
Exactly. And that's where things get really interesting.
Yeah, so before we got sidetracked with AI, maybe like, developing its own imagination, we were talking about how important it is to actually understand how these advanced AI systems learn and make decisions.
Right, because if we're going to trust AI to, like, I don't know, help doctors with diagnoses or maybe even compose music, we need to be sure it's not going to go all rogue and, like, diagnose everyone with the hiccups or start composing, like, death metal operas.
Uh-huh. Right, well, hopefully it won't come to that.
Yeah.
But you're right, this whole black box problem with AI is a big deal. We put all this data in one end, get some amazing results out the other, but we don't always know what happens in between. Yeah, it is a little unnerving. It's like trusting a GPS to take you somewhere, but having no clue what route it's taking or if it's going to lead you straight into a lake or something. So how do we, open up this AI black box? How do we make sure we're not just blindly following it?
Well, that's the million-dollar question. Luckily, there are some really smart people working on this, trying to make AI more transparent and explainable. It's like giving that GPS a voice so it can tell you, hey, I'm taking this back road because it's actually faster, even though it looks a bit sketchy.
Okay. Yeah, that would definitely make me feel better about the whole AI taking over the world thing. But seriously, explainability in AI is a huge deal, especially when it comes to things like healthcare or finance, where the stakes are really high.
Absolutely. Imagine being able to ask an AI doctor, why do you think I need this surgery? Explain your reasoning. And it could actually break down the evidence and the logic it used to come to that conclusion.
That would be incredible.
Mm-hmm.
It would not only build trust in AI's recommendations, but it could also lead to new discoveries.
Yeah.
Maybe the AI sees a pattern that human doctors missed, which leads to a breakthrough in treatment.
Exactly. By understanding how AI thinks, we can learn from it and maybe even improve our own decision-making processes.
Wow, that's getting pretty meta. But I love the idea of humans and AI learning from each other. But let's not forget about the whole efficiency thing. We talked about companies trying to make AI less computationally expensive.
Yeah.
But are there other ways to make AI more efficient besides just hardware and software?
Definitely. One really exciting area is the development of more data-efficient AI algorithms. Right now, most AI models are kind of like data-hungry monsters. They need to be fed huge amounts of information to learn effectively.
So it's not just about the processing power, it's also about how much data we're feeding these AI systems.
Exactly. And collecting, cleaning, and labeling all that data can be a huge task. It's like trying to teach someone a new language by showing them the entire dictionary. It's overwhelming.
So you're saying we can train AI to be more like a super learner who can pick up a language just by watching a few foreign films?
Kind of. The idea is to develop AI that can learn from smaller, more targeted data sets. It's like giving them the essential information without all the extra stuff.
I like that analogy.
Yeah.
But seriously, how is that even possible? How can an AI learn as much from a small data set as it does from a giant one?
Well, there are a few different approaches. One is called transfer learning. It's like taking an AI model that's already been trained on a massive data set, like a student who's already aced all the basic courses.
Okay, so we've got our AI brainiac all set up. What's next?
Then you fine-tune it on a smaller, more specific data set. It's like giving that student specialized training in a certain area.
So we're building on existing knowledge instead of starting from scratch every time. That's smart. But what about situations where we don't have a massive data set to begin with? What if we're dealing with something rare or completely new?
That's where things get even more cutting edge. There's this concept called few-shot learning, where researchers are trying to train AI models to learn from just a handful of examples.
Wait, are you telling me we can teach AI to be like Sherlock Holmes, solving mysteries with just a few clues? That sounds impossible.
It might sound crazy, but it's a rapidly developing field. Imagine being able to train an AI to recognize a rare disease from just a few medical images, or to identify a new plant species from a single photo.
That's incredible. It seems like the possibilities for efficient AI are practically endless. But before we get too carried away with all this futuristic AI stuff, let's bring it back down to earth for a second.
Sure. What are you thinking?
Well, all this talk about AI learning and efficiency makes me wonder, what does this mean for the future of work? Are robots going to take all our jobs?
That's a question everyone's asking.
Mhm.
And while AI will definitely automate some tasks that humans currently do, it's important to remember that AI is ultimately a tool.
A tool that could be used for good or for bad, I guess.
Yeah.
Like a really powerful hammer that could build a house or destroy things.
Exactly. It all depends on how we use it. And I believe that AI has the potential to help humans not replace them.
So it's not about humans versus AI, but humans working with AI. like a team where everyone brings their own unique skills to the table.
Precisely. Think about how AI could help doctors diagnose diseases more accurately, or how it could help engineers design more efficient buildings. AI can free up humans to focus on things that require creativity, empathy, and critical thinking, things that AI isn't so good at yet.
I like that perspective. It's not about being afraid of the robots. It's about embracing the potential of this technology to improve our lives.
Yeah.
But we need to be careful about how we develop and use AI, right?
Absolutely. It's not just about making cool technology, it's about building a better future for everyone. And that means having open and honest conversations about the impact of AI and involving people from different fields, policymakers, and the public.
It's like we're all on this exciting and kind of scary roller coaster ride with AI, and we need to figure out how to steer it in the right direction. And that's where our listeners come in. We've shared a lot of information with you today, but we don't want this to be a one-sided conversation.
Exactly. We want to hear from you. What are your thoughts on all this? What excites you about AI? What worries you? What questions do you have?
Let's keep talking. Join us online, share your thoughts, and let's explore this amazing world of AI together. Because the future of AI is up to all of us.
And on that note, we'll leave you with something to think about. If AI is becoming better at learning like humans, what does that mean for the future of human intelligence? Is AI a tool to make us smarter, or is it a potential rival?
That's a tough one. I don't know the answer, but I'm definitely going to be pondering that. Thanks for joining us on this deep dive, and until next time, keep exploring, keep learning, and keep asking those big questions. All right, so we're back, wrapping up our deep dive into how AI can boost efficiency. And honestly, it's been kind of mind-blowing, right?
It really has. I mean, we started with the basics of how AI learns, with backpropagation and all that. Then we talked about how researchers are working to make it less energy intensive.
Yeah, like who knew AI could be such an energy hog?
Right. Seriously. And
Yeah.
the cool thing is that by making AI more efficient, it opens up a ton of new possibilities.
Yeah, like personalized medicine and crazy powerful smartphones that don't die every 5 minutes.
Exactly. And we even got into some pretty deep stuff, like whether AI is developing its own imagination.
That was trippy. But before we totally geek out and disappear down the AI rabbit hole, maybe we should try to sum up what we've learned. What's the big takeaway here?
Well, I think the main thing is that AI is changing so rapidly. It's getting more efficient, more powerful, and more intertwined with our lives every single day.
Yeah, it's like we can't escape it, even if we try.
And that's not necessarily a bad thing. I mean, think about all the potential benefits. Imagine AI helping us solve climate change or cure diseases.
That would be amazing.
Yeah.
But of course, there are also risks, right? What if AI gets too smart and decides it doesn't need us anymore?
That's the classic sci-fi fear, right?
Uh-huh.
But honestly, I think it's more likely that AI will become a powerful tool that we can use to improve our lives.
Like a superpowered hammer that we can use to build amazing things.
Exactly. The key is to make sure that we use it responsibly and ethically.
And that's where our amazing listeners come in. Because the future of AI isn't something that's going to be decided by a few tech companies or governments. It's something we all need to think about and talk about.
Yeah, we need to have open and honest conversations about the potential benefits and risks of AI. And we need to make sure that everyone has a voice in shaping its development.
Because ultimately, AI is going to impact all of our lives.
Yeah.
So let's make sure we're steering it in the right direction.
Absolutely. And on that note, I think it's time to wrap up this deep dive.
Yeah, it's been a blast exploring the world of AI with you all. Thanks for tuning in, and keep those brains buzzing.